The Fourth and Goal Podcast.
That's all it is. But there's a lot of airspace to cover for Milroe. Still looking. Firing. Near corner. It's caught! Touchdown, Alabama!
Strebler dials it up. End zone! Touchdown!
They're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Bulls! Touchdown!
There ain't no podcast like the Fourth and Goal Podcast. Like, hit that subscribe button and share.
And welcome back to the Fourth and Goal Podcast here on a beautiful Thursday night because we don't record at any other time during the day. I'm doing Drury alongside Andrew Burns, Justin Pollington once again. Not able to make it, still trying to figure out child support and whatnot.
He's got to do, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I know his lawyer payments are not pretty right now. Yeah, Andrew, how's your day been? It's only been 24 hours since we've last spoken.
Not even. Yeah. I'm pretty good. Just watched my bet go down the drain for tonight's game. Bijan again disappointing the world. Yeah, that's how my day's gone. But beyond that,
right. There's a good reason why I can't sports gamble yet. Anyways, let's move on because we got a not a big slate, but a solid slate today to talk about. This is what I like to call trap week. It's a trap week. Teams are going to lose that aren't supposed to, which happens every week anyways, but teams are going to get caught. Teams are going to struggle, and it's about to get sick, and I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's head into Friday night, where Michigan State travels to Eugene, Oregon. Oregon, a 23.5 favorite in this game, over under a 52.5. 9 p.m. Friday night, I will be able to watch the majority of this game. I'll let the Michigan State guy of this podcast, even though I'm a Michigan State fan myself, I'll let him take it away, kind of give you his thoughts on this game.
So, yeah, this game is on it. I don't know. It's really weird because I have faith that Michigan State's defense will at least be able to put a little bit of a stop to what Oregon does. Because they, as we've seen all season, they kind of like the dink and dunk. They like to keep it within 15 yards of the line. And that's kind of where Michigan State's been living. They played, I'm going to throw a number out here, and I know it's wrong. But it seems like they're playing like 70% man. Or 70%.
Yeah, they're a man, like a loose man team. They don't play press all that much, but they play a lot of loose man, lot of cover one looks for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a lot of the reason has just been because they have a pretty solid safety core that keeps getting holes shot in it. But, that might be able to stifle a little bit of what Oregon wants to do. Maybe we'll be able to see Dylan Gabriel sling the ball a little bit downfield if he can. I think that's going to be their key to success. Just because, as we've seen the last couple weeks, running the ball into Michigan State is not a great idea.
No,
it hasn't for anyone yet. Ohio State did, but that's just because they're
but Ohio State wasn't very successful in the beginning of the game until Michigan State kind of gave up. So.
Yeah, Last year's state team reared its ugly head a little bit the second half of that state game. But I think that's the key to the game is Oregon has to be able to air the ball out. If not, it's going to be an ugly Big Ten slugfest because I already know Michigan State can't move the ball against this team. Well, they might be able to, but Childs needs to prove that he cannot throw picks and not fumble the ball.
Yeah, my kind of thoughts going into this game is, one, Oregon's got to hit the explosive play. Because Michigan State on like a down-to-down basis, like they actually play pretty solid and consistent defense. They just have a problem with allowing these explosive plays for teams to stay in games. You obviously look at that game that happened against Ohio State, explosive deep passes, got away from them. You got to hit explosive plays in the passing game. Dylan Gabriel, a guy that's not really known for hitting kind of is. He dinks and ducks, and then sometimes his receivers go for 60, 50 yards off a screen pass. But you got to make throws through the air against this Michigan State team. You got to get time for your quarterback. Oregon was able to run it against UCLA, but man, it's UCLA. It's a bottom three team in the Big Ten. with Purdue and Northwestern. So,
I mean, from where I'm sitting, this might be with my green tinted glasses, but this is definitely the best defense Oregon's had to go up against.
yeah.
And I don't think this is the best defense Michigan State's had to go against. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but I think
No, I would say Ohio State is definitely the best defense.
right. And I mean, they moved it pretty good in the first half. Like Childs looked elite in the first half of the game, minus whatever. What's going to come down in this game is if we see the 18-year-old make 18-year-old plays.
Which he probably will. I don't know. I really don't have a good read of this Oregon team because the only team they got challenged by Idaho, but I felt like they were still like somewhat in control of that game. Now, when it comes to Boise State was running with them back and forth. Mm-hmm. So I think that this Oregon secondary has actually been pretty solid this season so far. So Michigan State might have some trouble passing the ball, but when it comes to the run game, if Michigan State can get something going,
I mean, they've proven that they can run against good defenses. Not good defenses, okay defenses. Yeah. They ran it okay against OSU. And Boston College, I don't think they're a good defense by any means, but they're probably, top 50 defense?
I mean, I would even say, like, they're top 35,
and they 30. Ran it.
Like, they're a good defensive football program, for sure.
That Boston College game, minus a couple mistakes, when they ran it on the ground, it looked like pound green pound from, like, the 80s. Like, it was 3 yards in a cloud of smoke. And if they can do that against Oregon, it's going to be a rough time.
Justin's time. Actually, I don't think Justin was important.
No, but it was.
We act like Justin's like 50, bro, but he's only 34 now. So
he's barely a decade.
He's a 90s 2000s guy, but yeah, Oregon
born in 2005.
Yeah. He had a rough upbringing. No, I don't know about Justin's.
Hey, I think what's his big excuse now? The recession? I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, but Oregon 23.5. I would, if I had to go aside, I'd probably take Oregon, but this is also a game I would stay away from.
I think that's a side, but not the over under, the spread kind of entices me to run towards State because I don't think Oregon's beaten them by 30.
I don't know. It really depends on what Oregon can get done and if they can hit the explosive passing plays. If they can do that, which the receivers on Oregon have not been, like Evan Stewart and Tez Johnson haven't been these elite guys so far this year. This could be a breakout game for them, but we'll see.
That keeps happening. But also, this might be just a game that if you want to bet, those gamblers out there, this might be a wait till end of the first quarter.
Michigan State's team total, if you could pull it up for me.
Team total wins?
No, team total in the game, points.
Give me 1 second, and I can pull that up, yeah.
But, because I think Michigan State might be able to get a couple of lucky plays in this game. Oh, we have a friend joining us, guys. Oh Justin, he made it.
How's it going?
What's up, buddy?
Not much. Just got done working. Just cracked a fish beer, hanging out.
How was court?
It was awesome. I took him right to the cleaners.
I don't think anyone said court's awesome, other than maybe like Harvey Specter and Mike Ross. But...
Right.
Oh, Noah, the team total is 14.5.
Ooh, I would say because I think Michigan could get to 17 or 21 in that game, so I'd bet the over.
On that, yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. So, Justin, do you have any thoughts for Michigan State, Oregon? You didn't miss much. We only got through one game, and you could tell why because Michigan State, me and Andrew like to talk too much. But what are your thoughts going into this game?
Well, if Aiden Childs can finish drives and not turn the ball over, I think Michigan State easily could cover that 23.5. Obviously, I think Michigan State's secondary probably have some problems with Oregon's passing attack. I thought 23.5 was pretty high, to be honest with you. If Aiden Childs can come in with one turnover or less, I think they can keep the game close for the most part. I don't really know
You're
how
asking
good
a lot.
I don't know how good Oregon is, to be honest with you. I think we won't really know until they play Ohio State.
Yeah, Oregon, I feel like they're also just like taking their foot off the gas right now and just doing the same thing Ohio State's doing and just not showing anything. But like Oregon's lacked against like inferior competition. Like they've played one good half of football all year against Oregon State.
I think you just hit a really good point. Neither have shown a lot, but them not showing a lot has shown the different leagues that they're in.
Yeah.
State didn't show anything and still dropped 62 on Western.
Michigan State needs to be healthy too.
Depending on how this game goes,
they're never healthy.
But depending on how this game goes this weekend and some other games, I might have a segment that I want to have thrown in next week. So stay tuned for that.
Okay.
In the other Friday night game, we got Syracuse versus UNLV in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
UNLV, the 6.5 point favorite, over under a 58.5. I think this line's dropped because I think it was 59.5 yesterday.
The over under is 50. Yeah, it's dropped a little.
But the other Friday night game, all the big high schools are just getting all their games taken away by these excellent college games at night. Shout out also Jackson State and Kennesaw State and Houston TCU. No one will be watching those games, but if you want to, or you're from those local areas, you're alumni, you'll probably tune in.
Shout out Kennesaw, quite possibly our Division I school I've ever seen play football.
Well, they are the newest. So.
Yeah, I don't care. They're so bad.
But yeah, let's go to Justin. Justin, what are your thoughts on this game?
Well, UNLV fared very well with the kid out with the whole NIL deal and all the drama. They're going to get a real test with Syracuse. So Kyle McCord, high-level Division I quarterback. I do like UNLV. Surprisingly, have came out of nowhere as a Group of 5 contender to make it to the playoff. I don't think any of us had UNLV earlier in the year, but it's been a good story. But they're going to get tested with McCord in that passing game. I think Syracuse is a legit top 5 ACC team, no problem. I'm kind of thinking that 6.5 is a little high. I think UNLV might take their first L this week.
UNLV, the only thing that Syracuse could do, I think, to put this in their favor is run the football, which they've not been able to do, especially against quality talent that they've played. And UNLV, Kansas is a run team. They were able to stop them. Fresno State wasn't really able to get much in the ground game either. Granted, that game was over by halftime. But, yeah, man, UNLV, they've just been able to win in any matter, whether it's winning by 30-plus or winning by a field goal. So I think UNLV is a good football team. They are looking like a team like that Mountain West Conference Championship game between them and Boise. Most likely, those are going to be the most likely teams to play each other. I think is going to be very crucial in who's going to be that Group of 5 team in the college football playoff. And I love this Hajj Malik Williams kid, man. He's looking better than Saluka, and I think if UNLV can continue to ride on that wave, and also like UNLV is a team that doesn't get buzzed typically, but with all this story around them with the whole NIL situation and around their whole coaching staff, man, it's going to put them more in the national spotlight, and for them able to succeed, it'll do them good things.
It is kind of weird hearing about UNLV not in March.
Dude, UNLV hasn't been in March in a while, bro.
No, but they historically are kind of a basketball program. They've never been a football school. And it's kind of cool just to see them stepping up in that football. They've been pretty quiet.
Well, somebody's got to be the Group of 5 contender.
Yeah, Liberty is not that. I thought they were.
Well, it's still a long season. They will only play 11 games this year because of the Helen stuff that impacted their game versus App State that got canceled last weekend. It's not being rescheduled, so something tells me they might fill in like a 12th game or something. Well, I guess they'll have the conference championship, but regardless. All right, let's move on to the Saturday action. Number 9, Missouri traveling to the other number 25 team, the AP poll, so technically the top 26 this week. Texas A&M, a 2.5-point favorite at Kyle Field, over under 43.5. What do we think about not the big noon game, because the big noon game's UCLA Penn State, but the game on ABC to start off the Saturday slate of games?
This game's kind of really intriguing to me, just based off how Missouri's kind of been up and down all season, and so is Texas A&M. And I'm just curious to see how both of them fare against. I don't want to say not their first big test, because A&M had played Notre Dame week 1.
Well, Missouri did play a really good Vanderbilt team and a really good Boston College team, but
right, and I think both of those teams lose to A&M.
well, I won't say they're very good, but like
Can't forget about Vanderbilt.
Like they're both like quality Power 5 or Power 4.
100%, and I think Missouri is more tested than A&M is. They've kind of had I don't know. They both have been pretty tested, and that was my share. I'm just curious to see how the Missouri defense racks up against an A&M team that wants to run the ball and hasn't really been able to throw it as consistently as they want to this year. And A&M, I think their defense should line up pretty good. I'm just curious. This game is kind of a toss-up for me. The line says so as well. Field goal shows Vegas doesn't know who's winning this game.
Yeah, both teams are obviously offensively challenged here. I mean, the line kind of suggests that at 43.5.
Mm-hmm.
That's an NFL line right now. But two quarterbacks, Brady Cook, a guy who's average, and the Texas A&M quarterback that's been average as well this year.
Well, I am really concerned with who are they going to go to, Marcel Reed or Connor Wegman. Like, that's a serious conversation going into this game.
Yeah, I mean, Wagman, obviously, in the Notre Dame game, he didn't appear. You got a big opponent this week. I think Missouri has a good defense. A&M has a good defense. If they're going to start Wagman, I think the leash has got to be short, and you got to go to the other kid.
Well, what I'll say is if Texas A&M can hold this game to 21 points or under and be in the lead, I think they'll win. I think if Missouri can get to 28, I think they'll win. I think that's really a tail. So basically either don't bet the spread, bet the over or under, and probably do a 2-leg parlay with that along with whatever team money line, or if you wanted to bet the spread, because I don't think Texas A&M's offense is going to be able to create much. Le'Veon Moss is a good running back, and like Texas A&M's been able to run the ball pretty solidly, but the passing game, it's not just the quarterback. I mean, no one in this receiving room for Texas A&M has been necessarily a standout. Their leading receiver is Cyrus Allen, but he's not necessarily, he's not the Evan Stewart or the Anaya Smith or that big, or if we want to go have a blast from the past, Mike Evans. Like Texas A&M doesn't have an elite pass catcher, and Missouri's got plenty of them. They got Luther Burden, they got Theo Weiss, they got Marquise Johnson, who's been stepping in to his role this year. Man, as much as it pains me, I would take Missouri plus 2.5 and also take the over if that's going to happen as well. Texas A&M's not been able to win a game by a significant margin in terms of FBS teams. They lost to 10 to Notre Dame, beat Florida by 13, beat Bowling Green by 6, and beat Arkansas by 4. Like, they are a team that's not been able to dominate the competition offensively when it comes to FBS opponents. And Missouri, I think if they can hit some explosive plays, if Brady Cook can just do his job and they can get Nate Noel in the running game, Missouri all the way.
Yeah.
And what if we're just like fatigued and like tired of talking about Missouri, and they actually are really a top 10, like really good football team?
I think this will be a really good indicator. How about that?
Yeah.
I like Texas A&M. I don't know if they're a top 25 team, but they're a top 30 team. And I would say like middle of the pack SEC in terms of talent. So
speaking of a fatigued and tired team, though.
Oh, yeah.
Ole Miss and South Carolina also squaring off at 3:30. Over under 53.5. What do we make of Ole Miss? I thought they were tired. They looked bored last week. They weren't. They were just sloppy.
I think without them not having a ground game and having offensive line injuries and problems, it's definitely a factor for them. And so this South Carolina front seven is actually pretty stout and pretty good. They have one of the best freshman edge rushers in the country in Smith. If South Carolina can put together something on offense, and Sellers is coming back this week as well, they could win. They definitely could, especially at home in Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
But something tells me to take the under in this game. I think it's going to be another one of those SEC dogfights that it's not going to get. And South Carolina's not been a great defensive team so far this year, other than, well, surprisingly against Kentucky, who they did lay 35 on. But I don't know. I think this game could get weird. I think this game could get boring. It could be a little tiring, a little fatigued. But yeah, I don't know. My bet would be the under in this game. Yeah, that's really what I'm going with.
Yeah, I'm curious which Jackson Dart we get. The one we saw last week, or the guy that we've seen the previous following weeks. I think you had a great cap on what we saw last week yesterday, just with Kentucky showed a line that could get a little bit of pressure. The defensive backfield showed a pulse. They could cover downfield. And I'm not sure if South Carolina's defense is quite – Kentucky likes to play defense. I don't know if South Carolina is quite to the level Kentucky is.
I think also Kentucky is a better coached group defensively.
I agree, but I think that South Carolina is not going to pose as much of a struggle as Kentucky did. They're not going to show as much fight up front, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Jackson Dart bounces back. He is. What's he, a senior? He should.
He's been in college. Well, keep in mind he was a transfer from USC, so
that's true. I forgot about that. I'm not sure. And Kiffin's never been known as the motivated get off the mat guy. Since poorly, they kind of look flat breasted.
Dude, you have beef with Lane Kiffin, dude. Just admit it,
bro. He is like Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin trolling each other on Twitter for years. Like the week they would play, that's basically Andrew every single week to Lane Kiffin.
Everybody's got their guy that they don't like. Like Noah doesn't like Bo Nix. Despises Bo Nix. And you're just not a Lane Kiffin guy, bro. It's all right.
Despise Jabril Peppers were always the best Michigan Wolverine that ever exist, but
I don't know.
I
don't know if I have a coach I despise, to be honest. I definitely do, but it's just not clicking off the top.
For me, it was always
Kiffin. I just think he's an asshole.
For me, it was always Brian Kelly. Those
yeah, you are
those matchups when he was a head coach at Notre Dame, and I remembered him just turning beet red and just losing it, having a meltdown on the sideline every time. It was such an awesome feeling watching him just lose his mind.
He's doing it at LSU now, so it's
dude,
you get to see him do it on a bigger stage.
Yeah.
I don't know what head coach I actually hate. I'm looking at teams right now. I actually
give you one.
Who?
Sorry, I said his name wrong. Mel Tugger.
Well, he's not a head coach anymore.
No,
that's true. Oh, what's his name? Connor Stallions is a head coach technically.
He just picked up his first win tonight against Detroit International Detroit Western International.
It's a big win.
It is a big win.
Big win for the boys.
Yeah, coming from a guy that did PSL football tonight, and I heard all about it. That's a different conversation. PSL football is very interesting.
No. JP, what do you got on Ole Miss, South Carolina?
Everybody's saying, well, it's like everybody's acting like Kentucky's like some kind of bad team. Like Kentucky has some real dudes up front.
They got real dudes across their whole entire defense.
South Carolina, people aren't talking about South Carolina's defensive line. I think that they're going to pose some kind of mismatches like Kentucky did on that front, and maybe that's Ole Miss's kryptonite. They're an offense that likes to move fast and they're up tempo.
I did.
He did call that.
Yeah,
you would have known.
But
father, like son.
I think South Carolina's about to be a problem for Ole Miss. I was honestly shocked when I seen the 9.
Yeah,
Nine's kind of a crazy number.
I think it should be like 6.5 personally, but I think that because I do think Ole Miss is still technically the favorite in this game just because South Carolina's kind of looked weird coming into this year. But
I think all the games we've talked about so far, I could talk myself into betting something with the game. This game is just like the Grinch. I wouldn't touch it.
It's weird. It's one that you'll have. It's like a live bet game. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of a weird game that I will be betting, Michigan, Washington. The line has moved from when we made our list. The line's at 1.5 now. Washington.
Can I bet who? Can I just guess who you're going to bet?
Oh, I'm taking Michigan the points.
Oh wow, I'm shocked.
Take your points. They're like vitamins,
dude.
Weird
what? I really don't think like. Yes, Washington, when their team is good, they have good home field advantage. But the problem is, I don't think their team's that good.
No,
dude. Let me talk about Michigan as a Michigan fan.
Go ahead, sir.
And I'm going to be the most unbiased that I could possibly be. But Michigan has problems. It is an absolute miracle right now that they're 4-1. The offensive line cannot pass protect. Origi can't throw. Jaden Davis obviously doesn't want to play, it seems like, because, I mean, at this point, anybody could play quarterback. It is absolute miracle. And they're going to – I mean, I think Oregon and Ohio State are for sure losses, but they're going to run into a game like Washington that I think that they could easily drop. I'm not going to bet against my own team, but if I was going to bet this game, I would say – and historically, you can say that Big Ten teams have a problem when they go out to the West Coast. I mean, that's a proven fact. But anybody that has a functional quarterback, because when your defense is on the field all game, every game, teams are eventually going to start piecing you up. They're going to start getting chunk plays on you and touchdowns. You've seen it against Minnesota, seen it against USC. Once their initial game plan runs out, then Michigan's in trouble because people figure them out quick. You just move 8 in the box, stop the run. Quarterback can't throw the ball. There's no receivers of note.
On that idea,
they're gonna struggle, dude.
On that idea, though, I think Minnesota's a better team than Washington is.
Yeah,
Michigan just punch them in the mouth.
Michigan also played
enough on defense. So that,
Michigan's also played their first 5 games at home. This is their first time on the road. So
yeah, that is true. I think on the flip side, though, like Washington's O-line is like not good. Right. I don't think Minnesota's was either. They really weren't able to establish anything in the run game. Bromser honestly just had a really good performance in the second half. But Will Rogers is one of the most experienced quarterbacks in college football. Has over 13,000 career passing yards. He was played in probably the most like pass heavy system with Leach at Mississippi State. So I don't know. My thing is does Washington have the dudes on the outside? We really don't know this because one, they're not really been nationally covered, and two, I just haven't watched a lot. I know Jonah Williams is a good running back, and like their defense has been solid. I watched a little bit of that Rutgers Washington game last week, and that game was Washington should have won, but they missed 3 field goals. So you know what? You're gonna lose games doing that. So, but like Michigan and the points, I think is a good bet. I think, Justin, you're a little bit over worried about this team. I think they just kind of felt like, oh, we could take our foot off the gas. We're up 21-3. No one can ever score on this almighty defense, especially a team like Minnesota. And they just ended up coming back. I think that's really.
Sounds like me the episode leading up to Michigan State, Boston College.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
We might get that same result. We'll see.
There's one thing.
Jed Fish is going to have Washington in a really good place here and within the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Well, but that's in the future. And there's one thing we know as a fact as football: defense travels.
Yeah.
Khalil Mullings travels. I mean, that's really.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Yeah, it's
probably.
We'll see that.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on to probably my favorite game of this weekend because it's the Calgorithm.
They hit me with it again.
Team Woke. Miami favored by 10, traveling over to Cal Berkeley. Over under a 53.5. 10 p.m. I'm going to be tuned in. I'm going to be locked in. And I'm interested to see what this Cal team does against Miami. Because, like, Cal goes and gets a win at Auburn. Yes, is Auburn that good of a team? Nah, they're really not. They did just lose to Florida State. So, it happens. But I think with Cal being a good team defensively just across the board, and Miami, Virginia Tech's not the most amazing defensive team. They struggled. But they were able to get pressure on Cam Ward, and I think this Cal team's going to do the same. We saw what Cal was able to do against Peyton Thorne in terms of forcing him into mistakes. Can they do it to Cam Ward? We'll see. They're also able to keep the ball on the ground. Miami kind of struggled against the run against Virginia Tech. Can they do it again? Can Jade not lead this Cal team to success? We shall see. This could also just be me overhyping Cal, and Miami's going to win by 30. I don't know. This Miami team, they scared me last week, so they got to show some resiliency and bounce back.
Down to earth a little bit here. I think you're a little overly concerned. I don't think Miami really will have much problem this weekend.
It's also Mario Cristobal, so
disrespect.
You never know.
The Auburn disrespect is crazy.
No, it's not. They're terrible.
Well, they are. That is objectively true. Their offense has one of the highest yards per play averages in the country. And they did move the ball up and down the field against Cal. It's just they have massive turnover. And like you said, their defense forced problems, which I think Cam Ward, I have so much more respect for Cam Ward than I do for Peyton Thorne. I just think Miami, they'll roll with the punches. And
I'm just saying, like, we saw what a team did to Miami when they were able to get pressure in Cam Ward's face, and he started looking more turnover prone and not making necessarily the best reads under pressure, which not every quarterback does. Like 99% of quarterbacks don't. But like they were able to actually capitalize off the pressure and forcing some turnovers.
All I'm saying is the Hurricanes are rolling west this weekend. It's not like they're going to the Appalachia this week again.
Yeah,
they're rolling west.
I like Miami north of 10 here. Cal worth near 100th in the country in defense. Or defense is terrible. They just dropped their last game to welfare Florida State, who's awful. They've been terrible.
That game was terrible. I watched that game last week. Dude, that was some ass. Or no, that was 2 weeks ago. That was some ass football, let me tell you.
Say what you want. I think game day's covering this game.
Yeah.
And for Cal to stick around, they're going to have to get into an offensive shootout because we already know Miami's going to score their points. They're going to get theirs, right? And I just don't see Cal being able to stick with Cam Ward's on a Heisman march right now. I mean, flat out. No matter who you talk to, who you look at, who you watch, he's top 3 in the country right now. And this is setting up for a big game for him. Cal's weak on defense. There's just no way, man. Like I said, it's going to be north of 10. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami wins by 17 or more.
Not my upset pick of the week. I wouldn't bet this line. If anything, I'd honestly go over. What's that doesn't really matter.
Do you want an up-to-date line?
I want to know what Miami's team total is.
Give me 1 second. Logs me out every time I close this.
I would take like a Miami first half team total, depending what the number is. To be honest, if they're going to win this game, if you think they're going to win this game and get out hot, like they'll start scoring.
Miami total points is at 33.5. Cal's is 21.5.
Yeah,
I feel like we see this every year. There's always that team that makes it, that team of destiny that wins a game they shouldn't, like they did last week against Virginia Tech. They really had. You watch that game; they had no business winning that game. And this is just a breakout spot. You're talking about a top 100 ranked defense in the country. Cam Ward's going to go off.
Mm-hmm.
I would bet all your money on the Miami offense in this game. Okay. I don't want to get into being a betting show, but you know what I mean.
I mean, we just give our advice where we should.
Yeah,
it's a part of the sport at this point. All of the conferences and the leagues are in bed with them already.
Dude, all the content, like even like sports shows and sports podcasts, like they talk about the numbers all the time. So
I mean, the numbers are a way to read the game because you have all the information that Vegas does, and they've got nerds looking over all the stats, all the stupid little shit. We don't got time for that. We all three of us have full-time jobs.
Yeah.
All right. Is it time to say what our upset pick of the week is? Justin, do you have one for us?
Man, I'm just kind of searching the board here, and it's really tough to take one this week. I guess if you backed me down into a corner and twisted my arm, I actually really like South Carolina against Ole Miss and a letdown. Ole Miss kind of showing vulnerability against Kentucky last week. Like I said, South Carolina's defensive line the same, some of the same characteristics that Kentucky does, maybe to a lesser extent. And I like South Carolina's offense. I think South Carolina at home in Columbia against Ole Miss is my upset pick of the week.
That's not where I thought you were going to go with that.
That is, yeah, I thought.
We both talked about it after the show yesterday, and I was like, I can't take the game I want to take because Justin's going to take it.
So now you can.
I can, but I don't want to anymore. You can take it. I picked a better one.
Okay.
I'm taking. Oh, you guys are gonna laugh at me so hard.
See, I took a larger spread this week because
I don't think
I want to put my nuts on the table. I don't want to be like Noah when he took Rutgers against.
Yeah,
Virginia Tech.
I think like it should be like a 7+ or like a 7-point spread or more.
Oh, I have to change my shit then.
No, at least 5.5 or better.
Yeah, 5.5 or better, I think is fair.
Okay, I have a list of 6 here. Let me just double check. Oh, I got my number. I got mine. Never mind.
Okay, say what it is.
Rutgers over Nebraska.
God damn it.
That's
Cue the music. Yeah, it is.
Oh, I was so curious what that was the first time you did that.
It's the upset. It's being upset. It's the upset.
I see that. Yeah, Rutgers over Nebraska. I think Illinois really gave the blueprint to how to beat this Nebraska team, and Rutgers just runs the piss out of the ball, and I think they're just gonna. Even if they get knocked down, they're just going to get back up, pull a Rocky, and just repeatedly punch Nebraska in the face with the run game. And I think they're going to their defense. Not Sirianni. Shit.
Wow.
I'm forgetting the coach's
Matt Rule.
Italian last name.
Matt Rule.
No, Rutgers head coach.
Ciano
runs a good defense. His teams are disciplined. It's what he does. I think
Ciano. No, okay.
One of those Italian guys, you know?
Yeah.
I think they're gonna just force Raiola to make a mistake, and it's gonna be over from that point.
All right.
Yeah, that's my pick.
Queuing it up one last time. Duke over Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech's favored by 9.5. They are at home. All right, Justin, you can stop thinking that your kid is crying upstairs. Or me.
Shit.
That's what I thought it was the first time you played that. I was like, what the fuck?
I know. Dude, I kind of had like a silent rage when you just played that a minute ago.
No, I mean Duke's 5-0 so far. They got a nice comeback win over North Carolina. They beat UConn, who's been a really good team after that horrible showing they had against Maryland. I'm not really sure what this Georgia Tech team is, man. Like, I think Louisville kills them by more if Louisville doesn't get sloppy. Syracuse beats them. Syracuse it can't run the damn ball. And then, I mean, they competed with Georgia State, and they beat Florida State, who was not a good team, by a field goal, man. I think Duke can honestly get it done on the road. Malik Murphy's actually been really good at Duke so far, being a somewhat efficient passer, and they've been able to run the ball a little bit as well. So, and I think defensively, Haynes King, he makes mistakes everywhere. Their run game's been inconsistent. I like Duke in this spot, man. I think they're going to catch Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I think Georgia Tech was a team that was kind of just riding high off of that Florida State win, and I think we've all come to see what Florida State really isn't. They're like the 4th or 5th best team in Florida right now, which is pretty crazy.
Well, yeah, they're not better than FIU or FAU. Yeah, that's about it.
And like you said, and Noah, you've pointed this out for a while now. Haynes King, he makes a lot of mistakes. This Duke defense is going to have Manny Diaz's handprint all over it, and we know that he runs a complicated system, a system that can confuse Georgia Tech and Haynes King. So I like your pick there. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, I do have a sticky note of upsets because all of these are actually except one not valid in our rules.
Yeah, that is the new rule. You got to be favored by 5.5 or more, because I mean that's a touchdown or
The other one,
or 3 safeties. You know, like you never know.
The other one I was looking at was Ball State over Western Michigan.
Yeah, I saw that, but Ball State is awful.
So is Western.
No, but Ball State's like a different level of terrible.
But it's in Indiana, so I was like,
what are they playing?
Who the hell is watching that game to
Wednesday night showdown?
Oh, it's
on
Wednesday
no,
night action.
Action doesn't start till November, baby.
Nah, the other one was Hawaii over San Diego State. That was really
I took a look at that game too.
You guys are nerding out way too hard.
Actually, BC to cover the 0.5. That was a good one too.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the 4th and goal poll. As I pull it up right here, let me remove this real quick. Texas, Bama, Ohio State, and Tennessee to round out the top 4. As we were all pretty, when I look back at the ballots, we're all pretty similar. I think, Justin, you had Ohio State at 2 over Texas or Bama.
Yep.
Okay. So, but I mean, other than that, I mean, these four teams right now are the top 4 consensus teams in the country. I would agree.
Yeah, I didn't think that Ohio State, they haven't done enough to get leapfrogged yet. Alabama could very well be the best team in the country. We don't know. But as far as this is on a week-to-week basis, and I think Ohio State, as they haven't played anybody yet, they're still obliterating everybody in their schedules.
I'm interested to see if they have to get more creative in terms of their scheme on offense against Iowa this weekend. I know we didn't talk about it, but that is something I did want to bring up.
Dude, I think if you're asking me, like Will Howard, he's kind of mid to me, bro. Like,
I mean, that was kind of my analysis. Like, I don't think they need a quarterback that's just going to be safe. And McCord just put too many turnover type throws for Ohio State last year. He made some crucial mistakes. Will Howard, he's not a great player, but he doesn't make much mistakes, especially when the offense is simplified because Chip Kelly runs a very, quarterback friendly system.
Yeah, and I mean he's a veteran. He's got the experience. I think obviously it's a Julian Sayin offense from next year on, unless something miraculous happened. But if you see, and I just want to breeze through this real quick on my side of it. As you can see in my polls that I've been submitting to you guys, I'm really hesitant with Penn State and Oregon because I'm waiting to see. And I felt like LSU was deserving to move up into our top 12. Yeah, they did lose that USC game in a tough one. But I think week to week, LSU's gotten a little bit better, and they deserve to be in our rankings.
Yeah, I do. I think I agree with you there. I'm not completely sold on LSU.
I'm not sold on LSU.
They probably belong a couple spots below 12, but I don't hate them being at 12. I see it. I think them and Michigan are both in a little bit of limbo in that top 15, top 10 area.
I faded the last 3 teams on this poll, or the 2 of the last 3 teams on this poll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my 9 to 12 looked a little bit different, and I think at this point that's kind of where we're really ranking because 1 through 8 is pretty much set.
Yeah, and obviously, so I'll run through the rest. 5 Georgia, 6 Miami. For those that are listening on audio, 7 Penn State, 8 Oregon, 9 Ole Miss, 10 Missouri Tigers, 11 USC, and 12 LSU. But yeah, I had USC at 9. I had Iowa State at 10. Iowa State, while they haven't been amazing offensively in terms of putting up points, I mean, they've been a complete football team so far, able to get a good comeback win versus Iowa. And I mean, they've just stayed strong on their schedule from this point. I had 11. I think I had what? Notre Dame?
At 11, you had Clemson.
And then 12 Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I think both those teams, they started out with some early season struggles, but I think it's just a one game thing. Everyone has a little hiccup early on in their season or at some point in their season, and they've been able to bounce back and be both pretty good and pretty dominant so far.
Yeah, for me, I had my three that I'm really fading is Ole Miss, Mizzou, and Michigan. I kind of just Michigan and Mizzou especially. I've kind of they've slowly been dropping my rankings. I think I've had a week where I didn't have Michigan in my top 12.
There was a week they weren't on the poll, and that now again this week.
Right. But I think this week is going to be a big test for both of them. If they don't show it, they're both dropping for me the next couple of weeks at least out of my top 12s. Ole Miss, one hiccup isn't going to drop them out for me. So I did have them at 8, and I could see them leapfrog back up into that top 6, top 7. But
no,
yeah, I mean, losing Quinshon Judkins kind of hurt them. I mean,
well, and USS Bentley didn't play in their last game either, which he's been their number 2 back, supposed to be number 1 back, but he's not playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a dark sense of humor for Lane Kiffin because of his Ohio State criticism. So
yeah,
I'm kind of like secretly rooting for them just a little bit though.
That's why you don't like my Lane Kiffin takes. It all comes full circle.
Yeah, we have like secret beef going on here, bro. I can see it.
Hey, it's because you root for the team down the road. I root for the one that's the state school of Michigan.
That's all right, but we come together on a bipartisan.
And I root for like
podcast.
8. I root for like 8 different teams. So
yeah, I've really just got Michigan State and Indiana. I've really kind of just planted my.
No, I've really only been rooting. I've been rooting for Kyle McCord, and then I've been rooting for.
So I got a question for you guys before we go to NFL because, like, Noah, like he kind of has planted his flag with Louisville and like Clemson, and we kind of give him shit for it.
Mm-hmm.
You've been planting your flag with Indiana and obviously Michigan State. Like, so who would you guys say I've planted my flag for?
Ooh,
I don't know. You kind of hate everyone.
You're kind of just a cynical guy.
Probably one of the academy schools. No.
No, you can't take my pet Army. I wear that. I wear the name tapes.
I didn't know you were a Discord mod. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, hey, just because I send $50 a month to this guy in England doesn't mean.
Yeah. No, Justin. Dude, I don't know, dude. You just hate everybody, I feel like.
His pet team's Colorado.
No, it's not. That's not. You just wanted to say that. No, let me look really quickly, actually, because I bet I don't know. I'm just like, I always hear you say negative shit about teams, Justin, and I'm just like, there's nothing positive that really.
He's a good Michigan fan. They're the leader.
He is a good Michigan
so
fan.
He just shits on everyone else.
Like he doesn't like Nebraska.
I give teams their props. Dude, the answer I was searching for really to keep things rolling here was Tennessee. I thought you guys would have said, "Man, you kind of."
Oh yeah, you do.
You kind of been a volunteer this year.
Yeah, that's fair. I can see that.
Yeah. Also, one more thing,
Andrew,
you said this yesterday. Is Ashton Jeanty the best player in the country? I really want to hear Justin's thought on this because he didn't get a chance to explain his Heisman rankings yesterday, and I read your list off, but I kind of wanted you to elaborate. Where would you rank Ashton Jeanty in terms of just impactfulness on his team in the country, in terms of player?
I think that in terms of player and like his impactfulness, I think he probably has more of an impact than anybody. But the only problem is playing where he does, playing against who he does, goes against you. I mean, there's no question the guy's a great player, and I think he's gonna be a great pro. I mean, the guy's a bulldozer. You've never seen a combination of shifty, straight line speed and power like this guy. He can bounce off the tackle. He can take it the distance. Like
I know a guy.
I think the Kenneth Walker comp was pretty good because honestly, Kenneth Walker was probably one of the top 5 best running backs I've seen in my lifetime. And I've been alive longer than you guys, so I could probably come up with a list.
Yeah, it's probably what K9 Saquon.
Saquon was good. Willis McGahee, he was really good.
Yeah.
Maurice Clarett was good. I mean, Zeke Elliott, really good in college. Le'Veon Bell, good college back. I mean, there's a lot of guys that I can go off.
Derrick Henry.
Mark Ingram was great in college.
Trent Richardson.
There's just so many. Yeah, Trent Richardson, probably one of the biggest NFL busts of all time.
Any back from Wisconsin from 20,
I mean, what?
But in terms
Gordon,
of impactfulness, like before we get off the rails here, I think Genty probably means more than any of those guys to his team.
I think
Jalen Milroe and Cam quarterback, it's just, dude, if you have a great quarterback, you're a unicorn. Not everybody has a great quarterback, and I feel like that's why Jalen Milroe and Cam Ward are at the top for me. And Travis Hunter, I mean, he's just different, dude. He's an alien.
Yeah, that's the only guy I say has an argument in the conversation just because he's able to get it done both ways, and he does it at a really high productive level.
Honestly, the superstars in college football right now are great. Like, college football is in a good place, superstar.
What happened to your superstar, Donovan Edwards?
Dude, you guys both know that I never lobbied like he was a superstar.
So, while we're on this Heisman conversation, I pitched this to you guys the other day in the group chat, and I've been seeing it a little bit on like the talking heads on ESPN and Fox. The connections to this Heisman race, the '97 Heisman race,
Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, Randy Moss,
and Gene T's Moss, Peyton Manning's Milroe, and who am I thinking? The last one is
Woodson.
Ward is Leaf, and then Hunter is Woodson.
Okay.
And how it's those four, and it fits the archetypes almost perfectly.
Yeah.
And you never know who could sneak in there at that fifth spot, man. Like Miller Moss can end up having a really good season. Jackson Dart could come back and be amazing. Luther
thing before, real quick though, Andrew, that '97 class that you're talking about, 3 of those guys had ended up with gold jackets.
Right. I could see. I don't know if I can see Milroe translating quite as well to the NFL.
Nah, dude, Milroe's like Jane Daniels 2.0.
That's
like,
true. Yeah, I guess Jane Daniels is kind of paving the way right now. That's a good point.
Well, what I'm saying is that just the trajectory from his junior to senior season, like Milroe is a completely different player. Like if Milroe played like that last year, we'd say Alabama's the national.
Well, let's look at a simple comp real quick. Milroe to Jalen Hurts. I think at this point, Milroe might be on a higher trajectory than Jalen Hurts was, even when he went to Oklahoma, when he had CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I just think it's interesting how history is repeating itself.
Yeah.
Happens occasionally.
It does. I just think the only thing holding back Gene T and Hunter is the fact that it's become a quarterback award.
Well,
which I hate because as a guy who pushed the K9 agenda really hard, it's the name of
sorry, bro, but GT in terms of impactful, like, yes, Kenneth Walker was very important, but
I'm about to help your argument, dude.
Right. But like what I'm saying, well, no, Gene T's going to put up so much better stats, and that team, if they win out this season, they'll be in the college football.
It's also a popularity contest. If you look at it 3 years ago when Aiden Hutchinson was the second place guy. As great of a year as Aiden Hutchinson had that year, Will Anderson had a better year.
Yeah, Will Anderson
was the edge rusher in the country that year.
Yeah.
The Heisman, it's supposed to be the most valuable player in the country. And I think Gene T is the most valuable player in the country. We saw in 2021, K9 was probably the most valuable player in the country because that was a top 10 team. They lost K9, top 40 teams, 30 teams.
Who won it in 20?
Yeah. But the award has been watered down to the most prolific quarterback on the best team possible.
Exactly. And it's my biggest, that's why I've honestly, whoever wins the Doak Walker Award, it's the one the coaches vote on as the best player in college.
Oh,
Doak Walker's running.
Is it Naismith?
Running back. No, not Nate. That's basketball. Oh gosh, I played so much NCAA football for the Maxwell.
Yeah,
no, that's quarterback.
No,
I think Maxwell might be it.
The quarterback's O'Brien. Maxwell, and then Walter Camp's like best guy on the ground. So
guys, I lived in a generation where Ndamukong Suh was a Heisman finalist. Those days are long gone.
That's a good point.
Yeah. All right.
Heisman.
In the 54th minute, we got to move on.
You're right.
So did Falcons end up winning that game? I honestly stopped paying attention.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Falcons did win a 60-yard bomb from Kirk in overtime.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Captain Kirk turning it on, man. Like, Atlanta, dude, ready-made for a quarterback like Kirk Cousins, like Bijan, and Drake London quietly becoming one of the top 10, top 15 receivers in the league. And Atlanta's got a defense. I mean, they didn't show it tonight against Tampa, but dude, Tampa's pretty good. I mean, Baker's been lighting it up.
Holy crap. Kirk Cousins threw for 509 yards. Oh, my.
Yeah, he got me a whole 34 points in fantasy.
34 burger. Did you start him?
Thank God. I finally got sick of Kyler Murray's bullshit, so I benched him.
But this is a big NFC South matchup. Like,
It was
dude, the NFC South outside of Carolina, you look at Atlanta, you look at New Orleans, and you look at Tampa. Like, that division's shaping up to be pretty solid.
Oh, I'm loving. And I think that the two divisions I'm loving to watch right now are the NFC.
You know, it'd be a really good. You know, it'd be a really good
Great.
thing to compare it to. The AL Central, like teams that were not good last year coming into fruition, and then the one sucky team at the bottom, the White Sox, the Panthers. I think that'd be actually a pretty good comparison.
But you could also say that about the NFC North as well.
Yeah,
Panthers, White Sox, like direct correlation, like two shitty teams. You know what I mean?
I think it's because the NFC South is like a bunch of shit teams. None of them are like dominant. I don't think.
Yeah.
There's flaws on all of those teams. There's flaws on every team, but there's more glaring flaws on all of those teams.
Yeah.
All
right.
That AL Central comparison. Let's jump to the NFL.
London Vikings versus Jets. Vikings still undefeated. Favored by 2.5. Over under a 40. Andrew, you talked about the Aaron Rodgers, Robert Saleh stuff yesterday. The Vikings,
Kick it off, bro.
They've been looking good.
The Vikings, they look like a different team that we've never seen. Not that we've never seen, but they look completely different. I had them as the worst team in the NFC North going into this year. I was like Sam Darnold or JJ. Either of them is gonna not be very good to start the season. Sam Darnold, with a little bit of information I've picked up, he is starting ready. He is he's been coached up. He's been rebuilt, and I love to see a guy leave the Jets and absolutely light the world on fire. And the fact that he's probably the MVP favorite right now is incredible. At 2.5, I don't know. The Jets. We've seen one good performance from the Jets, and for them to be catching 2.5 from the Vikings, it's possible to me. The Vikings, their defense is playing great. That defense is built to shut down all Shanahan, Ian, McVay offenses that the Jets kind of like to play a mix of. Just from where Saleh's from, even if he's a defensive guy, he still is built from that Shanahan tree, and they do run a similar scheme. And I think the Vikings are kind of just going to tear them down, and Rodgers is going to have another long day in the office.
See, I have a different angle and a different read at this game. The NFL is a copycat league, and these coaches are very smart. In the second half, if you watch that Green Bay game, Green Bay was kind of able to figure it out a little bit. Like, Jordan Love had one of the worst first halves, horrendous, I've ever seen. At the end of that game, he kind of figured them out a little bit. And I just wonder how long and how far is this Sam Darnold train going to ride? Obviously, you got Jay Jettas. He's the best receiver in the league, at least top 3. And then they added Jordan Addison back last week, who had a receiving touchdown and a touchdown rushing on a reverse play. So that's just a whole nother weapon. I mean, they're trying to get Hawkinson healthy. I don't know when he's going to play this year. But if Minnesota keeps playing defense like they are, yeah, they're a Super Bowl contender. But on the other side this week, like I said, Green Bay was able to figure something out in the second half. Now in comes Aaron Rodgers. who is a manipulator. He can move you around with his eyes. He can look the safeties off. He can throw. I mean, he can make any throw. This is the NFL. It's so crazy. It's like you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, that's Minnesota. Honestly, dude, this might be a spot for the Jets. I mean, they have an OG at quarterback. You know what I mean? And I think that he might be able to figure something out in that Minnesota defense that's been really lights out outside of that second half against last week.
I hear you.
Yeah. Man. The Jets have just been this weird team. And like that Broncos game looks really bad last week. Obviously, a team can change their whole identity in a week in the NFL. It's just, with how much talent and what the coaching staffs put into the scheme and game plan going into different games. Obviously, the level of execution needs to be there. I don't know, man. I'm just like, I don't think Rodgers has looked amazing this year, to be quite honest with you. Like, he is a step behind where he used to be, which is fine. I mean, he's,
40.
He's Unk. Like, he's just
the oldest
old.
guy. He's the oldest player in the league.
Yeah, like I'm a big Vikings guy here. Vikings have been a really good team all season. I'm going to take them here in London, as I will hopefully be sleeping in for at least like the first quarter of this game on Sunday. But we'll see.
Oh, I'm going to be up like 3.5 hours of awake.
Let's move on to the Bills and Texans. Bills favored by 1, 47.5 over and under, a little bit high for an NFL game. Yeah, you guys start off with this. Let's go to Justin. Justin, you're up on the Price is Right.
Yeah. I mean, the line suggests this is kind of a pick 'em. The Bills, they struggled last week in Baltimore, but I mean, a lot of teams do that. When you have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in the backfield, I mean, that's pretty tough in itself. The Texans got all the goods. C.J. Stroud led the comeback drive last week. I mean, he looks amazing, dude, for a second-year quarterback. Is a battle of quarterbacks. As far as that goes, this is the highest level you're going to see so far this season in an NFL game between Allen and Texans. I'm not ready to write Allen off as MVP candidate after one game. Like I said, dude, it happens in Baltimore. The quarterback matchup in this game is crazy. I think the Bills are going to have to develop a little bit more on offense. I do like their running attack with James Cook and Ray Davis, kind of a change of pace. James Cook, good guy coming out of the backfield, good receiver. Dalton Kincaid, nice tight end. I think he'll be a top 5 guy here within the next couple years. And then the Texans, dude, they have a plethora, dude. They got everything you want. They got Tank Dell. They got Nico Collins. They got Steph Diggs. They got Joe Mixon. They got Laramie Tunsil, all-pro left tackle. Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter on the defensive side. I mean, this Texans team can go really far, and they have the roster built to do it. For me, it's just going to show who the Bills are, because they kind of went through an overhaul a little bit in the offseason, and they've kind of outperformed themselves, to be honest with you. I like the Texans at home, though, in this game. I think the Bills are going to be there, but this is a tough road.
Yeah, I'm on that same line that you are. The Texans, they play really good D. They've got probably one of the more aggressive front fours in the NFL. With why am I forgetting who they picked up this year in the draft? Will Anderson and
Daniil Hunter.
It's going to be a tall task for the Bills. I think they should be able to contain Josh Allen with his legs. The Bills have liked to run the ball a lot this year, comparatively to what they have in the past with Allen at quarterback. But I think the Texans are probably just going to pick apart the Bills secondary. I mean, Nico Collins is on pace to break Calvin Johnson's receiving yards record, which that's been a little under the radar so far this year. He's on pace to break that 2,000 yards, and I could see it happen this year the way the Texans are playing offense. They've had one kind of bad game, and granted that it was the Vikings of their full power, kind of ran into that. So, like I said, the Vikings are the stop Shanahan offense. Texans run a Shanahan offense. But the Texans, for the most part, they're not running into defense like the Vikings have, and the Bills definitely don't have it. So I think it's Texans. Just take the points.
Yeah, my initial read coming into this game is who's going to be the real contender or the real front runner, I should say, in the AFC side other than the Chiefs. And I think, this outcome and what happens in this game could definitely show what team is going to be the contender in the AFC and be that number 2 team and give Kansas City their best shot.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Ravens Bengals at 1:00 also on Sunday. Ravens favored by 2.5, over under 49. Bengals, both these teams, off to tough starts in their seasons, but they're looking to bounce back. And both these teams, we'll see, man. I'm a big Ravens guy. I'm a big Kyle Hamilton guy. One of my favorite players on defense in the NFL. I just don't trust the Bengals this season for whatever reason. Zach Taylor just does not seem to have a hold over that team and who's going to be playing and who's not. And it's just kind of a disaster. And I think just with the toxic environment, I think I see a more likely outcome, I'll say, of the Ravens pulling out and winning this game.
Yeah, I agree. The Ravens, Justin hit it perfectly, that Lamar, Henry backfield, and since they have on the outside, they can get Andrews going at all. I do think this is the spot where Andrews gets his first of the season. It's crazy to think we've gone 4 games. We've seen a lot of guys not see it. But I think the Bengals struggle. Their run defense with no DJ Reader, their entire defense in general actually has just been really lacking this season, surprising, from what we have seen in the past. No deep, but their run D especially has been really lacking from the Ravens. I think maybe not Derrick Henry going for 200 yards, but I could see a Lamar Derrick Henry combined somewhere in the 200 range, 225. Just going to run it down the Bengals' throats.
Yeah, this is a must-win game for the Bengals. Ravens defense under first-year defensive coordinator Jonathan Orr looked pretty good last week. It looked kind of like it did when Mike McDonald was there. And the Ravens pose a lot of different threats. Isaiah Likely kind of more of their receiving tight end than Mark Andrews this year. Nelson Aguilar made some plays for them last week. Obviously, they got Zay Flowers to stretch the field, Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, a good change of pace back, especially catching balls out of the backfield. The Bengals need to get T. Higgins going. Jamar Chase has been there. I don't think that T. Higgins is there mentally. I think, obviously, with the contract stuff wearing him down. Bengals defense is Swiss cheese, dude, and they have to win this game this week. If they lose, they're out. Yeah. And I don't see them beating the Ravens. The Ravens are rolling right now. I don't think Bengals defense is going to be able to stop Baltimore.
All right. Another team in the AFC North competing this weekend against those Dallas Cowboys. I love the Cowboys. 8:20 p.m. NBC game. 44.5 over under. Steelers favored by 2.5. Steelers obviously did not look good last week. And Cowboys, I don't know what to make of this team. And Micah Parsons is on IR too, right? Or he's not going to be available for this game.
I don't believe so.
So that's a key defensive piece that the Cowboys aren't going to have on a game that might be, a defensive slugfest, and it's just going to look like a bar fight out there. So. And knowing the Steelers, it could end up actually just being an actual fight. So, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just go back to, I don't know what Jerry Jones is going to do with this team at the end of the year. McCarthy is up. This is his last year as a head coach. I don't see them bringing him back. They had all the offseason drama with Dak and CD's contracts. They didn't make any moves besides going out and getting Zeke Elliott. To me, Micah Parsons is a little underwhelming. On the Steelers side of it all, Justin Fields played a pretty good damn game last week. And I don't worry about Mike Tomlin. He hasn't had a losing season at the Steelers since he's been there. I'm looking forward to the Steelers winning this game and just sending Dallas into an uproar, because if there's one team that we can all agree on that everybody hates, it's the Cowboys.
100%. I think,
I love the Cowboys.
of course, we do.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I hate the Cowboys.
This is a game. This was a game I kind of circled a couple weeks ago as the Steelers, not the Steelers. Sorry, the Cowboys have to win this game, or they're looking down death's door, basically. Especially with how the Commanders have been playing in division. This is the first game in a long line of teams that like to run the ball and have very prolific offenses. And the Cowboys do not have a very good defense this year, especially with Micah out. The offense has been kind of what's the term I'm looking for, doo-doo butter. I think that would be the correct.
Lackluster.
It's just been bad because I broke it down the other day, but they got Steelers, Lions.
Oh yeah, their schedule is just an absolute monster.
Dallas's defense losing Dan Quinn to the Commanders just took a big dip.
Oh yeah, I think this is after this week. If the Cowboys don't win this week, they're looking down the barrel of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight losses. They won't happen because it's the NFL, but they're looking down the barrel of 6 uphill battles. And this has got to be a must-win. They have to have this. And I think Tomlin doesn't lose. Like Tomlin just finds ways to win. The steel wall is back in play this year. I think the Steelers win, but Cowboys.
I agree.
All right, to end it off on Monday night, we have the Chiefs versus Saints. 5.5. Okay, the Chiefs versus Saints.
What was the bit?
Hey, you know what? This is just going to be – I don't want to talk about the Chiefs. I'm not a big Chiefs guy.
I
want to do the –
called the referees versus the Saints.
Psst. The Chiefs play. No. Yeah. No, I mean, not much going into this game. Obviously, the Saints started off hot, but, you know, the heating pads cooled down eventually. And, you know, or eventually the seasons turn unless you live in like towards the equator, then you don't experience seasons. But us in Michigan, we do. And, you know, we're at the time where it's getting cold outside. The Saints are getting cold as a football team, and they got to go play against the Chiefs team that, while, yes, they do get a little bit of luck with the referees, they're also still a pretty good football team. And they're still, I mean, they're able to put themselves in that spot where it gets controversial. So, I mean, they're not a team that's just not competing. And I think this is one that if Mahomes and that Chiefs offense can get it rolling early, I don't see the Saints, you know, seeing much daylight in this game.
I have my biggest question mark for this game is what's up with Rashee Rice?
Oh, yeah, that is true. He's they got two receivers out, but the Chiefs have someone every few years like just break out. So
there was a rumor today going around.
Could they re-sign Kadarius? No.
There's the rumor going around that people were seeing Rashee around the training facility not wearing a brace, walking around. Which
isn't he on IR though? So you can't even play for 4 games anyways.
I think he is, but it's still
he's going to be out at least 4.
Right. But the fact that he's walking around could be good for Chiefs fans. I'm just, is this Juju Smith-Schuster going to come back and light the fire?
He better be having he'll have the most viral TikTok.
He's going to Corvette all over.
Dude, you know who they could sign?
Who?
Antonio Brown.
No.
They're going to, I think Kelsey gets going and Kelsey gets going.
Kelsey needs to get it going, dude. Oh my gosh.
He's had a good season inside the 20s.
I mean, but you watch the Chiefs games this year, Pacheco's now out.
Right.
For extended period of time. Rashee Rice is going to be out for an extended period of time.
Hollywood Brown's not coming back for the rest of the year.
He's done. Like Xavier Worthy hasn't really fully developed yet.
He's not a number 1 guy either. Like that's
Juju Smith-Schuster isn't a number 1 guy. Like, so of course, by a byproduct of all that, Kelsey's not going to do anything because if I'm an NFL defensive coordinator, then I'm just going to take this guy out of the game because nobody else can hurt me at this point. Carson Steele and Samaje P. Ryan are your backfield. The Saints, I could actually see the Saints going into Arrowhead and winning this week. The only reason, dude, if you take Patrick Mahomes off the Chiefs right now, dude, they're the Jaguars.
Yeah.
But he's Patrick Mahomes.
Right. I mean, and that's the
He's the best quarterback we've ever seen in our lifetime.
MVP, Super Bowl, multiple Super Bowl MVPs. That's the point of his rating.
Whoa, Andrew.
Are you telling me he's not the best quarterback you've seen in your lifetime?
I mean, in terms of talent, probably, but best quarterback in my lifetime
Brady.
for being the GOAT.
Well,
no,
because the GOAT is Brady, but on pure talent alone, ability to will your team to win.
Let me tell you guys,
pure ability alone. No.
Well, no, okay, not pure ability alone.
Pure ability, dude. Zach Wilson in his pro day. Oh my gosh, that is the greatest quarterback.
Let me give you guys a short list.
At the combine, dude.
Let me give you guys a short list of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen. It goes Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre's probably somewhere in there. Aaron Rodgers is probably up there, and then Patrick Mahomes is up there. I mean, in no order, those 5 guys.
Yeah,
I think outside of Brady, you kind of just throw in Manning, Mahomes, Elway. Like you just throw in all the like top 5 list guys, and it's like, well, you can throw them anywhere from 2 to 5. Brady's the lock for 1.
Yeah.
But for me, I think like already instated himself, especially after last year. They had.
Hey, all I know is they've never thrown a perfect game. So.
Yeah.
0-2 against Jared Goff.
Thank God.
All right, let's wrap it up with who are the favorites in each conference, the AFC and the NFC. Who would you have to put your kidney, your heart, your dog on the line and say this is the best team in this conference and they're going to win the Super Bowl right now?
I think. Well, I've already put money on this team to win the AFC, but
you're literally like.
No, I know. If everything's on the line, my heart is saying go with the Chiefs just because I hate betting against Patrick Mahomes to defy the odds. But I think it's next coming out of the AFC. They're my favorites right now. And out of the NFC, it's such a damn crapshoot just because it sounds like CMC is not coming back for a while for the Niners. The Lions have been a little up and down. The Eagles have not looked like they're supposed to be. Is it a homer pick to just say the Lions?
No. I mean, if that's your honest opinion.
Yeah, I think it's the Lions in the NFC, and then the AFC, I got the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to go with the Lions in the NFC just because I thought that they were trending towards the best team last year. They have the best offensive line. They have the best running back duo. Amon-Ra St. Brown, top 10 receiver. Jameson Williams, ascending receiver. On defense, they kind of shored it up a little bit. Terrion Arnold's had some penalties, but he'll get better. Carlton Davis is a respectable veteran. Amik Robertson's been good. You still got Iffy, who's going to come back later on in the season. I think that defensive backfield's improved. Jack Campbell getting some meaningful snaps, looking better on the defensive side. So they were already a top 5 offense. They took that defense and improved it, and I felt like they were better. They're better moving forward. They're actually in a better situation than the 49ers, who are having a litany of health problems right now. And in the AFC team that we talked about earlier, Baltimore, I mean, I feel like they just offer so many problems. Kansas City, eventually it's going to catch up to you. As great as Mahomes is, they're going to have to get some playmakers, and they're not healthy right now. We know Marquise Brown is out. We don't know how long Rice is going to be out. We don't know how long Pacheco is going to be out. I mean, really, they just got to be ready for the playoffs. But I kind of like Baltimore.
You say the Ravens offer a lot of problems, but so does the city of Baltimore. So
hearing Hollywood's government name threw me off there for a second. I was like, "Who's Marquise Brown?" Think for a second.
All right, we're gonna just be a little. You guys are, homer pick on the NFC side. I like the Ravens pick. It's a little dangerous. We're going to go all out here. In terms of the NFC, we're going to go the team that just won tonight, Kirko, Moneybag Kirk. To be honest, looking at this team for Atlanta, like roster-wise, I think if they could get Bijan going in the run game, I think this team actually has a good chance of being dangerous and catching a lot of teams and giving them a lot of problems offensively. I mean, defensively, no. Are they the greatest defense on paper? No. but they have a lot of guys. They got AJ Terrell, they got Matthew Judon. Like they have some dudes on this defense where I think the Falcons are going to be, a favorite out of that NFC. Are they going to be the number one seed? No, but I think they're an entertaining football team and good.
I think if they figure out how to get to the quarterback, then you're in business.
Yeah. And then on the AFC side, I'm surprised nobody said them. I'm going to go the Buffalo Bills. I like the Bills. Obviously, they looked non-existent against the Ravens, but we'll see against the Texans and the rest of the season. They started out pretty hot. Josh Allen, arguably the best quarterback so far this season. And if you have the best quarterback, typically your team's pretty damn good as well.
I agree.
Yeah, if old Slapnuts, former Sparty, what's his name? The guy that went to Florida State.
Keon.
Yeah, if he elevates his game within the next 5 to 6 weeks, they're a real threat because
he's not been bad so far.
Shakir's been a really good player. And like DeMar Hamlin's actually been like, he was not good last year when he played and barely played, but like this year he's actually been like an impactful corner on their team this season.
Agreed.
All right. Well, if you made it an hour and 21 minutes in, make sure you like, subscribe, and also follow our socials on TikTok, Instagram, and X at 4th and Goal Pod. Fellas, do we got anything to say before we get to this very, very, very fun trap weekend?
Screw Josh Jacobs and have
it. Justin, you got anything?
No, I'm good. I mean, I'm sure you guys didn't talk about it, but Game 1 of the NLDS Saturday, Tigers versus Guardians.
We didn't mention that they won yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Justin's not even going to watch college football because the Tigers are going to win the first game, and then he's going to go
I'm going to jump.
He's going to be jumping around Detroit.
He's going to go jump in the Detroit River.
I wanted to talk about this series a little bit. This series, it's a familiar foe, obviously a division rival, but the Guardians offer – our Guardians bullpen is the best in the Major League Baseball.
Right.
Emmanuel Clase, Karen Check, they got some guys. So the Tigers are going to have to shorten it up and just get some runs on them early with whatever magic that they've been using. Keep it going because this is going to be a tough series.
Dude, I swear there's a little Caesars mascot hung upside down, drip bleeding in a storage unit that's sacrificed to the Tigers. That's my working theory. They just every week they sacrifice another little Caesars mascot.
You know what? They probably went to those like $10 like voodoo, whatever. I don't even know, like some crazy stuff that's like totally not believable and a scam, but somehow it's working for them. And
he's got the tikis in all their lockers.
That or someone got sacrificed that we just don't know. Maybe it was P. Diddy. I don't know.
Javi.
Oh yeah, Javi did get sacrificed.
They sacrificed Javi.
Team and goddamn, they turned into a good ball club.
Well, kind of what happens when the guy who's getting paid the most money is underperforming.
The Tigers' payroll was the same as the Astros reliever.
They also sacrificed Shelby Miller, another free agent that they signed who needed to be sacrificed. So
Into Maeda's turned into a decent bullpen guy too.
Yeah, he didn't make the playoff roster though.
No, but
we'll see.
Yep.
So like I said, subscribe and share. Follow us on socials. Follow Andrew at Burnsy on X. Follow Justin at BigJP58 on Instagram, and follow me on X at Drury Noah. And we will see you next week to recap everything that happened with the Tigers, with the NFL, with college football, and any other major sports news.